Hello and welcome to this reading vlog here on Ronnie the Reader. So today we are talking about my most anticipated book of the year, The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I have already finished this book, so I'm finishing kind of this opening clip here at the beginning of the vlog. I'm going to be doing a quick non-spoiler kind of review and recap of this book, and then we're going to jump into the spoiler vlog. So you can kind of skip around. There will be timestamps and everything down below, so definitely let me know, what you think of it. But if you're here because you just want a quick review and you haven't read the book yet or you're unsure, I would say this is for sure a go ahead. I did end up giving it 5 stars. And I really, really liked it. I ended up giving it 5 stars because I think it was mostly successful. And to me, it was more successful than, I don't know. This is going to be really, really weird. It was more successful than Survive the Night, but I also think it had different sorts of problems than that book had, and I gave that 5 stars, and I think it just overall, I don't know if there's ever been a truly perfect Riley Sager book, but they're all really entertaining and really compelling, and this one is definitely no different. So I would say that this really gets back to his vibe that he was going with in Lock Every Door, Home Before Dark, that kind of era, before he got kind of into a different vibe with Survive the Night and with The House Across the Lake. And so ultimately this book does follow the story of Lenora Hope, who is an older woman, and she was accused of killing her family in 1929. This story now takes place in the 80s, and your actual main protagonist is a woman named Kit, who is now a caregiver for Lenora. She works for a facility who has assigned her to the care. And the thing with Lenora, since everyone thinks that she killed her family, is people are really freaked out. So Kit gets there and she's like, I'm intrigued by the story and I want to try to uncover what semblance of truth there might be. And so that is the story. It's just kind of investigating what happened the night that Lenora killed her family allegedly, who are the key players, how did it play out, what is the truth, and kind of along that journey you get a lot of fun twists and turns. And like I said, this book is compelling. I've used that word a lot. I use it a lot in the vlog, and that is the ultimate, if I had to describe the word in one sentence, or the book in one word or one sentence, it would be compelling. And I think if you are a fan of Riley Sager, you will like this. It definitely is not as kind of out there as some of his other books. I think it is a little bit more tame, a little bit more grounded, which I don't think is a bad thing because the book is super readable. It's super quick. It allowed me to just turn off my brain and just not think about this while I was reading it, which is a good thing for me. I love a story where I can just kind of shut off everything and consume the story and not have any idea where it's going and be super surprised and super stoked by how it ends up, going and how it ends. And that is ultimately what did happen for me in this particular book. So that is kind of it for the quick review session of this. So I'll jump into the vlog now, and then I will come back at the end to wrap some things up, final things, and then yeah, that'll be it. So I'll take you to the vlog. You guys, welcome to the start of a new reading vlog for my most anticipated book of the year. We have The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I just got it today. It is June 20th. Pre-ordered this from Amazon, I know. So I just got it today and I'm super excited to start this. I'm probably going to start it tonight, actually. I don't know, I'm really excited. I don't really know too much what this is about. I know it kind of follows the story of a family, or not even family, but a girl who was murdered or maybe accused of murder. I've heard that it's kind of inspired by, what's that story? The story of Lizzie Borden, the axe murder girl. So I'm super excited. His last book was not for me, but I can admit it was definitely creative and did some stuff that I didn't see coming, so that's great, but definitely I was not a fan. So I'm super excited to see what this one is, and a lot of people didn't really like Survive the Night or The House Across the Lake. I did like Survive the Night. I know that's kind of an unpopular opinion, but I was not a fan of The House Across the Lake. But I've now heard from 3 separate people who got to read this early that they feel like this kind of gets back to Lock Every Door vibes and Home Before Dark, Last Time I Lied, which are definitely, I think, my 3 favorite books by him. So excited to read this. I will go ahead and get started with it. And I'll probably give you an update after, like, I don't know, chapter 1. I feel like I'm going to have so much to say, but I am just so excited. Oh my god. You can't even, like, I don't really get excited over books, but, like, I pre-ordered this in November. I think I pre-ordered November. That sounds accurate. So I've been waiting a long time for this. I really follow Riley Sager, new books. I really like him. Like I said, favorite current author, I should say. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go do some other stuff because I have stuff to do, and then I'm going to jump into this tonight and give my first initial impressions. So we'll see. I'm nervous. Oh my god. All right, I am now, how many pages? 132 pages into The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This book, I obviously did not know anything about it before going into it. So to go ahead and start by telling you, the only thing I knew going into this book was that it was inspired or loosely based on the Lizzie Borden story, which, if you're not aware, is a story about this girl who was in New England in, I think, the late 1800s. And she basically was accused of killing her entire family with an axe and kind of like bludgeoning them all to death. So yeah, pretty famous story. A lot of people are unsure whether she did it or not. Some people believe her. Some people, don't believe her because she claims to have not done it. I don't really know if there was ever a resolution as far as like a yes or no definitive answer. I'm not too familiar with the story myself. And I haven't really consumed too much media about it. But this story, we are following our main character, Kit, who is a caregiver, basically an assisted living worker, I guess. She lives in her patient's home, and kind of throughout the first 135 pages, I have to say, okay, so I really, 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 really like this book so far. I would say the things that I like most about it is the kind of fresh feeling after the kind of cliche House Across the Lake, and even in some ways Survive the Night, which I've said many times. I gave 5 stars. I really enjoyed what Survive the Night did. I really enjoyed the whole plot device of that particular book. But it was kind of cliche. I think the characters were a bit cliche. This doesn't feel like that to me. This feels really fresh and original. And while there are classic character tropes and archetypes that are in this book, you have Kit, the like outsider coming in, and you have the groundskeeper and the maid and the house mother and the mysterious Lenora, who, is like the aura of mystery is surrounding her. And you have those kind of classic characters, but they feel fresh and well written. They don't feel cliched or stereotypical in a way. And so I didn't know what to expect going into this, but I'm pleasantly surprised. But at this point in the story, we kind of know Kit's backstory, that she was suspended. When you kind of get teased a bit that she was suspended because she was basically accused of killing one of her patients. And you find out that her patient was her mother, basically. So that really did surprise me, I have to say, which I think, looking back on it already, I haven't even finished the book, but I think it makes sense because, like, why else would her dad be so, like, distant to her and, like, toward her and not, like, wanting to, like, keep a relationship with her? It felt very odd and weird about, like, how they were, like, so distant and cold to each other. And I was like, where is their mom? And you kind of find out that her mom is no longer around, and then you find out that her mom is the one who died on her watch as a patient, caregiver. So that I'm going to use the word liked, but it kind of gives this, like, parallel story kind of running, because Lenora's story is kind of being told through flashbacks of, her family was brutally murdered and everyone thinks she did it. And there was like a prologue, and there's kind of some like intercut chapters in here of like Lenora telling her story. And overall, I have to say, I really like the kind of plot device of Lenora being a writer, and the only way that she can communicate now is through writing on this typewriter. I really enjoy like that aspect. And I have to say, I mean, I'm 135 pages, and I don't think too much has happened necessarily. Like, there have been some plot developments. We've kind of figured out things about Lenora, about Kit, obviously. There have been quite a few characters introduced to have kind of a backstory and, like a place within the story. But there hasn't been like so much going on. It's really just kind of been the day-to-day, getting used to this new environment. We're almost 50% of the way through. This book is like, I think 350 some pages. And so I'm like almost at that kind of halfway point. So I'm expecting something big to kind of happen. But I have to say, the book, what I love about it so far is that I just find it extremely compelling. Like, when I'm reading it, I'm not getting bored by any aspect, which, to be honest, when I read books physically nowadays, I do find myself getting bored and only able to read like a chapter, especially if they're long chapters. It's part of the reason why I love short chapters so much. And these chapters are a good mix. There are some short chapters that are like 2 to 3 pages, and there are some longer ones that are 10 to 12 pages. And I kind of enjoying that variation in the story and chapter structure. And it's just very compelling. It's very interesting and intriguing. I really want to know, what was going on with Kit, what happened with Lenore and her family. And, I have to say, I don't know where the plot is going. I don't have any predictions of as far as like anything going on. I don't know if it's going to lean supernatural, because Riley Sager has kind of played and toyed with that idea in Home Before Dark before going full on supernatural in The House Across the Lake, which, as you know, did not work for me. Or maybe you don't know. I'll leave it linked above. But that did not work for me. So I'm just really intrigued to see where this is going. I have to say, right now, at 135 pages, like, it is 5 stars. Like, I know that's crazy. And it's like, you've not even read, like, anything yet. But I really, really like this. And I was, like, so scared because I was super excited for this. Like, I love Riley Sager. I love his books. But The House Across the Lake, did not do it for me. I was not a fan. So I was super nervous going into this, and I wanted to kind of have no expectations going on, and I've done that, and I'm enjoying it and loving it so far. So I'm super intrigued to see where it goes. I am planning on finishing it this weekend. It's now Friday, so it's taken me 2 to 3 days to read these 135 pages, but I don't have any like major plans, I guess, over the weekend. Well, I mean, Final Fantasy 16 did just come out, so I do plan on spending tonight playing that. But then after I'm done, I do plan on reading some and hopefully getting a little bit further. I do want to get to about page like 250. I want to read like another 100 pages tonight. So I'll update you that. I'll update you on that tomorrow after I've kind of read that, and then maybe I could try to finish it tomorrow. I mean, I have some plans I want to do. Actually, I'm going to clean out my closet, and I'm actually thinking of doing a book reorganization and doing a little bit of a unhaul, which if that happens, then you would have already seen that video. Actually, maybe not. I think I'm going to try to get this video out by Tuesday, which means I have 2 to 3 days to finish the book and then a day or so to edit the book. So yeah, definitely we'll try to get it done this weekend. I think Sunday will be my big reading day because like I said, have stuff going on Saturday. So probably can finish it, and then we could probably start editing like Sunday night and into Monday afternoon. So we'll see. But anyway, that's how I'm feeling right now. Really loving it, really enjoying the story, and I am excited to see where it goes. All right, we're back in almost the exact same position that I was in the last clip. But it has been about 2 days now, and I am officially on page 302 in The Only One Left by Riley Sager. And just kind of general thoughts at this particular update before we get into some spoilery thoughts is I'm still enjoying it. It has slowed down a bit for me. There have been some more plot developments, so we will talk about that. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see how these last 80 or so pages go and what's in store for our characters. So first and foremost, something I forgot to talk about in the last clip, which if you're reading this book then you are aware of it, but you may keep forgetting like me, is that it is actually set in the 80s. I kind of forget because it doesn't really, like, to me it's not really like impactful for the story, and I keep kind of thinking like, is that going to come back in some sort of way? Like, is there a reason why Riley Sager decided to set the events of like Lenora's storyline in 1929 and then have the like present day events of the story be set in the 80s? Like, is it just a stylistic choice? But it doesn't really have that like flair. Like, I keep forgetting that this is the 80s, and like I'm like not picturing it as the 80s, as like dumb as that sounds. But I keep kind of finding myself being like, oh, why isn't she like calling anyone or like using her phone or whatever to like look things up, and then I am forgetting that it's the 1980s and she can't do that sort of stuff. So, that's a little I guess like a plot point or like a column tick, whatever, in like the negative side, or like one of the reasons why this might not be the best work of literature ever, which, you know, no one is saying that this is. But yeah, overall, the plot has kind of progressed to the point in the story now where we've kind of discovered that Lenora was pregnant from Ricardo, and there have kind of been some developments that maybe Carter is her grandson. We have the kind of parts that I just wrapped up now. We're talking to Bernice about kind of the events that night and finding out she was there and that she saw Lenora. And, you know, the whole book has kind of been oscillating back and forth between whether Lenora is guilty, whatever happened that night. And I have to say, I don't really see where this is going. I mean, part of the reason why I love mystery thrillers specifically is because I'm very good at turning off my brain while consuming this sort of story and not necessarily thinking about it. And I'm not thinking about this book. And I know that sounds bad, but for me, that's like a really big positive. So that's kind of like how I'm feeling overall. But I am kind of thinking, like, how is this going to end? Like, is there going to be a huge, massive twist? Like, I don't know. So that is intriguing. Like, I'm very intrigued to see how it ends. But just kind of all the plot points of Miss Baker being Lenora's father's like main mistress and helping her, and then the whole Bernice being there. What did happen to Ricardo? You know, is he dead? Who did kill Mary? That's, you know, a big plot point that's kind of progressed, is that we've found out that Mary, the former nurse, is actually dead. Her body was found on the property as falling off the terrace onto the beach below and like the rocky cliffs and whatnot. There's definitely been some like intriguing plot points, but overall I just feel like I have not too much to say about each plot point. Like I feel like this is gonna be kind of a flop of a vlog, but I just keep like enjoying myself. I don't know. I know I said in the last clip that it's 5 stars. I don't know if it's going to be 5 stars or not. The ending really is going to solidify that for me, you know, ultimately, and kind of in how that ends. It's still solidly a 4-star for sure. Like, unless it goes like completely off the rails, like The House Across the Lake, where I'm just like, I hate this. I hate the way this is going right now. Then I don't see how this could be anything less than like 4, 4.5 at this particular point. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how the ending happens. So what I'm going to do is go finish the ending. I'm going to read the last 80 pages. And then I know I talked about potentially doing like an unhaul and closet clean out video. I am just going to clean out my closet once I'm done. And then I'm going to come back to you like as I'm cleaning out my closet, packing up the clothes and things that I've decided to part with and donate at this point as I wrap up my final feelings on this book. And then as far as the unhaul, I'm just going to film like a YouTube short for it. You know, it's a couple of seconds, so that'll obviously already be up because I'll probably post that like tonight onto YouTube. So, and I promise that the next clip will not be in this exact same location, although I really do like this lighting right now. Like, okay, I really like this. So maybe this will be like my new permanent filming spot. I don't know. We'll see how things go. But yeah, thanks. I don't know why I'm saying thanks. This isn't the end. I will come back to you in the next clip and wrap this up. All right, as promised, it is later and we are back with the ending, final update, wrap up of The Only One Left by Riley Sager. And I have my clothes that I am going to be bagging up to send to probably a Goodwill, I think is where I'm gonna end up sending these, but let me put that over there because I'm gonna need it in a little bit. And I think I'm going to be settling on a final rating of a 5. I do think I'm going to give it a 5. I am going to sit on it and kind of give it about 24 hours to kind of wash over me. So overall, with the final twist, or not even the final twist, but I guess like the main twist of the story, which obviously, you know, this is the spoiler section of the vlog, so I'm going to be spoiling it. So, you know, if you somehow made it this far and you don't want to be spoiled for the complete ending, like, you know, definitely click away because I don't want to end up ruining it for you if you don't want to be ruined. Anyway, so, you know, the twist of Lenora being Virginia and Miss Baker being Lenora, I have to say, I did not see coming. It's so obvious, especially like even between the spellings between Miss Baker and Mrs. Baker. And, you know, I know earlier they talk about how she was married at some point when she was living in France, between like her stints at Hope's End or whatever. But yeah, I didn't see it coming. Overall for the twist, I don't know how I feel. I think it is good. I definitely think it's something where, like, if I were to ever reread the book, it's something that would be a little bit more, like, maybe you could play out a little bit more. And I'm not saying that this twist is, like, so insane that, like, you can't see it coming, because I definitely think, even the second that it was revealed, I was like, oh, yeah, like, I feel like you could probably kind of, like, glean that and figure that out from the way that the story has been playing out thus far. And so, yeah, I think it is good. I think it's a successful twist. It's something that is plausible, and is, like, you know, still kind of over the top but realistic. The kind of whole twist of her father being Ricky, I will say the entire time I was reading the story, I did get the vibe that, like, I think that the way the story was written, like, they were trying to get you to believe that, like, Archie was in love with what was to be thinking of Lenora, but is, like, actually Virginia. But reading, I did get the vibe that he was a little bit more of a queer-coded character, and, you know, turns out that he was actually the one who was having, like, an affair with Ricardo, and that Ricky was actually Kit's father, which I did not see coming at all. I did think that Ricardo, like, not that him and Ricky were two different people, but I was kind of thinking like a twin kind of theory. I was thinking too that Detective Vic was going to have something to do with it more, that he was going to come into play. What really did shock me at the end was finding out that Jessie was the granddaughter of Virginia. That one really got me. And then her revealing at the very end that she could be mobile, also I thought was effective, because by the end, like, before that was revealed, I had fully bought into the theory that she was immobile after being kind of played with and toyed with throughout the story, which I think can be interpreted as kind of problematic in some contexts. Like, this able-bodied person pretending to be like immobile and not necessarily able. Like, I definitely don't think that that is, like, fully, like, PC, I guess, or, like, I'm not, like, saying that that is necessarily okay to do. It was effective in the way that the story was told, but, you know, I definitely think that some people could find that a little offensive, or I wouldn't say it was offensive, but maybe just, like, insensitive, and kind of using like, disabilities as a trope, which is not something that, you know, is there's a difference between, like, disability representation and, you know, disability being used as a stereotypical trope, and I think it could potentially fall into that latter category. So, you know, that's just definitely something that is worthy of probably further discussion about this novel, like, in more of a longer form context. But overall, I think that the book was successful in what it was setting out to do. I think it was creepy. I think it was compelling. I think the story flowed well. I thought the writing was better than his last couple of works. I think, like I said, I think both The House Across the Lake and Survive the Night were a little more cliche and stereotypical than what from some of his first works were. And so this one, well, definitely still felt that way. Like, it still feels in a lot of ways very generic, and, like, you know, it's not necessarily the most original, well-written thing out there, but it was entertaining. And that is kind of what I'm looking for out of these mystery thriller books, is to be entertained, to be surprised, to be able to shut off my brain and not really see where it's going. And that was successful. Like, this book was successful in doing that for me. So overall, I would say that, yeah, this is a good book. I think it is definitely an improvement over his last couple of works, even though I did really like Survive the Night, and I really enjoyed the twist in that. That's kind of what ended up making that book stick out in my mind. So, yeah, that is kind of everything that I'm thinking as far as the spoiler section. So I will throw it back to me to end the review. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this vlog. Please, please, please let me know what you thought of this book down below. Did you think it was successful? Did you give it 5 stars? Were you hooked? Were you entertained? Were you compelled? And just let me know what you think. I am super excited because I really didn't like The House Across the Lake, and so I was super, super happy that I really, really did enjoy The Only One Left by Riley Sagar. So that is it for this vlog, and I will see you in another video very, very soon. So thanks so much, and bye.